Today we will be practicing Hatha Yoga, similar to what we do on a Monday morning at the Gateway Centre. So you're going to start lying down. Take your time. Allow the back of the head, back of the shoulders, buttocks, back of the legs, back of the feet to rest. Big deep breaths in and out through the nose, starting to feel that breath lengthening and deepening. Just take a moment to check in with how you're feeling, letting go of anything that's not necessary to you in this moment. When you breathe in now, stretch the arms away above the head, point the toes away, make your way into your full body stretch, lovely and long. And when you breathe out, bring one of your knees into your chest. Give it a hug. And then breathe in, come into your full stretch. And breathe out, bring your other knee into your chest. So you're going to keep moving through this, nice and steady, alternating these legs. And using strength that you're cultivating in your belly to help you move through without any issues with your back. Starting to get a little bit of warmth and movement going through the shoulders, the hips, the knees, building and developing that strength in your belly. And then when you bring your right knee into your chest, we're going to take a moment there so the back of the body still rests on the floor. Bring the knee in as close as it can be and circle the foot a few times one way, a few times the other way. Then explore the back of the leg by sending the heel up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, stretch that foot away from you. Exhale, hug the knee back into the chest. You might ease into the hip a little, one way and then the other. You might circle the knee around. Just do what feels right here. Remember, we don't want to make ourselves in pain at all, so a little bit of discomfort might be okay, but if it ventures into pain, you need to come out of it. We'll do exactly the same with side number 2. So bring that second knee into the chest, circle the foot one way and then the other. And then start to feel your way into the back of this leg. Inhale, send that heel all the way away. Exhale, bring the knee back into the chest. Same thing with this hip. Just little circles or little sway side to side, see how it feels. And then ease your way back into your full body stretch. Bring one knee followed by the other up into the chest, give it a hug, have a little sway, a little rock on the back. And then we'll think about coming into an easy bridge. So just to begin with, place the feet into the floor parallel with each other, ankles underneath the knees, and just start to feel your way into this bridge. You might start with thinking about strength in the belly, so engaging that strength. You might tilt your pelvis a little bit, just start to get a little bit of movement through that spine. And then eventually you'll be able to think about lifting away from the floor. We're not coming too high, we're only right here at the start, so just think about easing into it and out of it. And only coming as high as feels appropriate for you. All the while you're thinking about this engagement in your legs. You're thinking about this opening across the chest, feeling that breadth across the collarbones. And being aware of your lower back. No pinching, tweaking or twinging anywhere. You might choose to hold at the top here. As I say, it's a fairly low one. Working on keeping that alignment through the spine. And then making your way back down to the floor. Come into a full body stretch before you do anything else. Bringing the knees into the chest, give them a little hug, a little sway. And then when you're ready, you're rocking all the way up. We're going to flip straight over onto our hands and knees, so make your way into that tabletop position. The hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. And then start thinking and feeling your way through your cats and cows. So coming into the cow pose, you're looking for that length through the front of the body, the head and tail lifts, and then into the cat, that big arc through the back of the body. And you're moving through this with your breath. So inhale into cow, exhale, scoop through the belly into cat. Remember, this is as big or as small as feels appropriate for you. So if you have any conditions, particularly any issues around the lower back, you might choose to not be quite as big in your movements. And then you send the bottom back to the heels and ease your way into child's pose. In any yoga class anywhere in the world, if it all gets too much, drop into child's pose. Rest the forehead on the floor. And take a moment. Throughout this class, we're going to aim to stay in each pose for 5 breaths. Long, slow, deep, even breaths. 3 or 4 counts on the way in, filling the lungs, and the same number of counts on the way out. Easing your way into downward facing dog, tuck those toes underneath, scoop through the belly and send the hips up and back. So you might pedal the heels, place the feet roughly hip distance apart, making sure they're not rolling in or out. Find that sense of length all the way down the spine. And allow the head to hang so the neck is relaxed and the shoulders feel broad. Press down into the base of the thumb, base of the first finger. We're not bending our elbows, neither are we locking them. And if your heels don't come anywhere near the floor, don't you worry about it, that's absolutely fine. I would rather the heels be lifted and a slight bend in the knee than any issues to be happening with the back or the putting too much weight down through the hands. Over time, the backs of the legs will feel freer and longer, and those heels might start to inch a little bit closer towards the floor, but for some people they never get there. So even if you've been practicing for years and years and your heels are nowhere near the floor, that's still fine. It's still a downward facing dog. When you're ready, you're going to start thinking about walking those feet and the hands together. And then pressing the floor away as you roll up to your standing position. We'll come up another way if you have another way. Mountain pose. We're thinking about this length again, so the crown of the head lifts up towards the ceiling. Think about that upward lift on your breath in, and the grounding feeling on your breath out, that strength as you feel that connection with the floor. Moving on, Warrior 2, taking the feet nice and wide apart, comfortably wide. One foot pointing towards the short edge of the mat, the other towards the long edge of the mat. And that back leg is strong and engaged. The front knee is bent and not rolling in, so every now and then you might want to just have a little check, make sure it's rolling more towards the smaller toes. Again, on that inhale, zip up through the belly, lift the crown of the head towards the sky. On the exhale, release the shoulders away from the ears, find length in the neck, and draw the tail towards the floor. We're aiming for the hands here to be roughly shoulder height, and to feel an energetic lengthening out through both sets of fingertips. On an exhale, you can release the hands down and then shift the feet round. We'll go straight onto side 2 here. So new front foot. Take your time to set it up. Think about that lift up and out of the waist. Your gaze is fixed on a still spot somewhere out in the distance. Releasing the arms down, and then heel toe the feet back together. We're going to come into our balance now, so take your time to get that connection with the floor. Decide which foot you want to stand on. And the balance we're going to use today is tree pose. So find that standing leg strong and straight, and then bend the other knee. Turn the bent knee out to the side. You can start with the toes to the floor, and lift the foot away from the floor and press it into the leg as you feel happier with your balance. Just like in mountain, we're thinking about that sense of length. So on your inhale, you're lifting the crown of the head up towards the sky, and on your exhale, you're noticing that connection that your standing foot is making with the floor. Lengthening away in both directions. Press the palms in together, shoulders release away from the ears. And it's your decision where your foot wants to be. If you want to keep your toe to the floor, feel free. If you want to put it on the calf like I've done here, feel free. If you want it higher up your leg, feel free. 5 breaths on one side, and then we'll set up for side number 2. Again, take your time, get into it gradually. Thinking about the breath, inhaling, finding that sense of space within you, exhaling, your strength, your balance, your steadiness. When you're ready, release out of it. As with any of these poses, if your mind wanders, it will make it more challenging. So every time you notice that your mind has wandered, just kindly bring your focus back to your breath and whatever it is you're doing. Set up now for staff pose, deceptive pose, this one. It looks like you're just sitting there. Actually quite a challenging position to be in, so lengthen away through those feet. Imagine that you're pressing the feet into a wall. Sit bones are even into the floor, and you're lifting the crown of the head away from the floor. Hands, if you're able, palms are flat down into the floor. If you've shorter arms like me, fingertips can be into the floor, that's fine. If you've longer arms, you might need to put a bend in your elbows so that your shoulders don't jump up into your ears. There should be no pain in your back, so feel that sense of strength wrapping around your centre to hold you here. breath in, feel that height. And then when you're ready, you can come out of it, have a rest in this cobbler's pose, bring the soles of the feet together, allowing those knees to open and release towards the floor. What you do here with your back is your decision. I personally like to let go of all strength and just come into a gentle rounding, but if you prefer to stay upright, that's fine. Okay. If you would like to return to your staff pose, you may do that. Alternatively, you can come into a heels down version of boat. So the heels are down, we're keeping the thighs parallel with each other, tilting yourself back so that you're just feeling that strength in the belly and you're in that sort of V shape. The arms are reaching forwards and the shoulders are released away from the ears. If you're wanting to lift the feet, it's one first, then the other. Now that's quite a lot stronger, and if like me you haven't done any boats since lockdown began, you might choose to bring your feet back down to the floor again. This is your decision. If you've been more practicing with your boats, you might choose to keep the feet up through the whole time. And then you can bring your feet down and come back into that relaxation pose. We're going to make our way down to the floor. So nice and gentle, use your arms for support. And then we'll set up for our final bridge. So bring those arms down into the floor, find that good position for your feet like we talked about earlier, and then lift through those hips. So we're a little bit higher than perhaps we were at the start, if that feels appropriate for you, otherwise you can always be a bit lower. Remember, the shoulders are carrying the weight of the body, the upper body, not the neck, so there should be no pressure on your neck at all. Press those arms down into the floor or interlace the fingers underneath you if that feels better. Even pressure through both the feet. Thighs stay parallel. Belly is strong. No tweaking or twinging in the lower back. When it's time to come out, one vertebrae at a time, rolls all the way down and go straight into a full body stretch first. Just enjoy that sense of lengthening and see if you can feel even all the way down through the front of the body as well as all the way down through the back of the body. Balance that out between front and the back. And then you can bring your knees into your chest. Have a little sway. You might come up into Apanasana here by lifting the head away from the floor, bringing the nose and the knees together. You might choose to come into Happy Baby by bringing those knees wide and in towards the armpits, catching hold of the feet. So again here you're thinking about your breath. Your inhale, press your feet up into your hands. Your exhale draws down so that the back of the shoulders are resting into the floor, the whole of the back's resting into the floor, and you're pulling down on the feet. If you want to have a little bit of a play, feel free to do that. You can catch hold of the toes with 2 fingers and a thumb, lengthen one leg away, have a bit of a play, and then lengthen the other leg away, and just feel that sense of space into the inner thigh, back of the thigh. Maybe you want to play with both, a wide leg position, and if this isn't accessible, you can take your hands to somewhere else on the legs. So for a lot of people it's easier to catch hold of the thighs. And then use your hands as support to bring those legs together. We'll come straight into our belly twist here. So allow the knees to come down to the floor on one side and the head to turn to the other. You're looking for both of the shoulders to rest as evenly as possible into the floor. If the knees aren't comfortably resting on the floor, pop something underneath them. Maybe a blanket or a towel or a cushion or a book, whatever you've got to hand. Ease your way through your centre and then do the same on side number 2. I think this belly twist is one of the most relaxing positions. Easing your way back through to your centre. Have a full body stretch. And then make your way into a banana shape. So for this banana shape, you walk your feet and your upper body over onto the right hand side, and we're thinking about the sense of length all the way down through the left side of the body. Space between the ribs as you breathe in, and on your breath out, the back of the body is resting evenly into the floor, so you're not going to end up rolling onto your side. Ease your way back through centre, nice and gentle, and then do the same over onto side number 2. Ease your way back through to your centre again. Full body stretch. Find those shoulders even into the floor. And then we'll come into Baddha Konasana. If this isn't comfortable and you want to come into Shavasana instead, feel free to do that. But it might be nice after doing the Baddha Konasana, the cobbler's pose seated earlier, to do the reclined version. Soles of the feet together, and we're allowing those knees to open out. If you've got loads of cushions and things to hand, you might choose to prop some underneath the legs so the legs can just rest on the cushions. That's really pleasant and relaxing as well. Hands can be wherever's comfortable for you. So here I've got mine on my belly and just near my hips. You can feel the flow of breath coming right the way down into the bottom of the lungs. It's filling me up. But you might choose to have the hands on the floor or perhaps even above your head, wherever feels good for you. Easing into your full body stretch, lengthening everything away, and then bringing your knees into the chest. Give yourself a hug. Thank yourself for practicing today. Have a gentle sway on the back. And then you can ease your way onto your side. You might take a moment there just to start to readjust. And then press the hands into the floor to help you up to seated. Any comfortable seated position. If you don't favour a cross leg, choose a different one. Sit up nice and tall. Find that height through the spine once again. And then we're going to take our 3 final breaths. Inhaling, sweeping those arms all the way up. Exhaling, hands come to heart. Inhale, sweep them up. Exhale down to the sides one final time. Inhaling all the way up. Exhaling to heart. And thank you very much.